Is that better?
Oh, there's a countdown. Oh, we're
Oh,
live
that's
now.
great. Oh.
Hello and good evening, League of Excellent Extraordinary Negroes. We are here to talk about Loki, episodes 5 and 6, the finale tonight. I'm Jade.
Carla Stillwell, resident philosopher.
Nick.
And I'm Marcus.
Okay, so we all have power this week.
Yeah.
Marcus has
I
power.
was so frustrated. I was trying to log in and the signal was just not, because not only did I not have power, but the cell towers were down too, because they went down in the storm. So, Marcus,
It was rough.
how long were you without power?
75 hours.
Oh,
Wow.
Lord.
I didn't even count hours.
It just,
It
yeah.
was 5 days. I think
It
I was
was
5
a long
days.
time.
Long time. Crazy.
Yeah,
It was long enough that we just dumped everything from the fridge directly into the trash. It's just
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm sad because we still have the deep freeze downstairs, and I don't think things made
it's
it.
not worth the risk.
No.
It's not.
All my risotto and my pizza from Tennessee.
Oh,
my goodness.
Not the pizza from Tennessee.
I know, I was saving it.
I've never understood saving pizza. So I'm impressed that you could do that.
Well, I had it shipped from Tennessee.
Right. I would have eaten it once in a
When
while.
it got
I'm like,
there.
this is the pizza that you got shipped and you didn't cook it? Like you got
Right.
I got
Special
4,
occasions.
and I still have 1 left.
Oh, okay. At least you ate most of them. I was about to
Well, I ate 1. I gave 2 away. Anyways,
say, what?
Anyway,
It's like you gave away pizza.
Right. And I wasn't on the list apparently. I'm just sitting over here pizza.
Special pizza.
Right.
It's special pizza. So, okay. Question of the day. If you could go back and change one thing on your timeline, it can't be racism.
Well, I'm out.
But one thing on your timeline, what one thing would you change?
My mama would be
How am I
back.
gonna tell?
Your mom?
My mother would be back. That's the only thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was easy.
The rest is just some shit I did. I clearly got away with it because I'm free now.
All right, so Nick, you're going to be next. I'm going to bring Alex in first.
Oh.
It's
The question of the day
So
is, if you could change one thing on your timeline, what one thing would it be? And it can't be racism.
It can't be racism.
No.
Right?
That's yeah. I wasn't gonna pick racism. That's a waste of a wish.
Okay, so when you say, how bounded is my timeline? Is it like all of this universe, or like the day I was
you know
born?
what? You know
It's
what,
like-
Marcus? You know what we're not going to do? Because this is what frustrates me. Because I ask these types of questions to my theater classes, and the kids start asking follow-up questions. And I'm like, listen, kids, this question don't matter. Just answer the question. Just pick an answer.
It's
Your
whatever you
timeline.
feel. Whatever you feel.
I think, well, you know, Jade, I like to think that every piece of my life shaped me into the person that I am today, so I would like to keep it all. But I would go back to first grade when I told my mama I couldn't see the chalkboard. Because everybody in my family had glasses and I wanted some. I'm pretty sure I made myself blind. Like I don't think that I needed these until I started wearing glasses and being like, oh my god. So I think I go back and preserve my vision. Well, everybody in my family had asthma, and everybody in my family wore glasses. I was the only one without glasses. I had the asthma. I was like, we gotta check these boxes. Like, come on.
Okay.
It's gonna be this kind of show. I smell the shenanigans already.
All right, Marcus.
All right, I'm gonna give you the honest answer. Yeah, I'd have my dad back, and it would have fixed a lot of other problems.
Okay.
Yep.
Alex.
I got a messy one and I got a responsible one.
Oh my God. I only asked one question.
The responsible one, I would have gone to San Francisco, and even if I would have went broke from no tuition, I would have done it anyway. I just would like to know where that goes. I was worried I was going to be homeless, which I still think I would have been homeless, but I would just like to have seen. They told me they would give me 19 grand and the school cost 25, and I just would like to have seen how much hustle I could do before I was homeless if I would have gone to school in San Francisco instead of UNL, where I got no, I'm not here. But I would I would, for my messy one, I would go back in time and I would not date my high school girlfriend for 3 years, and I would have been a ho 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 ho, and it would have been dope.
Okay.
It would have been cool.
Well,
That's how this is gonna go. Okay.
The first thing, and really, I guess the only thing, I could say my dad, but my dad lived a long life. He was, almost 90 years old. We don't want to prolong that. He's good. But I would go back to the 3rd grade when they told me to stop running because I had a problem with my knee. And they said, if you keep running and you don't let this heal, it's going to go to the other knee and then you're going to have problems. And I was a kid. How do you tell a kid not to run? So I ran. And then I developed a knee disease in both knees. And when I turned 18 and they told me, you have arthritis in both knees, like, how am I 18 years old with arthritis? Damn. Because I had a degenerative knee disease. That's when I realized what that was.
They should have strapped you down. They should have been like, put Jade in the chair. She can't go nowhere.
But I loved to run. Anyway, I would go back and I'd do that one again. I wonder what would be different. Well, then that's the question. What would be different if you actually changed that one thing?
Oh, for me, I would be in LA and I'd be acting and I'd be on, because I would have had mother supporting that part of my life. So I'd have my Oscar by now. I just know it, because I would have been able to focus on that instead of having to be grown up.
True. Anyone else? You know what would have happened?
I would have saved a lot of money on glasses and contacts.
That's facts.
Because this shit's expensive.
Oh my God.
Zenny.com. Why is it expensive? Zenny.com.
Do they ever look back on somebody that was trying to get on with you and you didn't know until like a week, like a month, 3 years later? You just like looking back, it's like, God damn.
No.
Happens to me all the time. All the time.
Ooh, look at you.
I'm horrible at noticing signals. And most of the time when you get signal like that, the moment's passed. And so I just, if I was not with the person I was with in high school, all those moments, for one, I mean, if I had caught him at the moment, I also would have been single. And so that would have been just double dope. That'd have been great. People have hoe stories. I don't got none. I would like some.
You don't have any? Like, did you go right from your relationship in high school to the relationship you're in now?
My whole stories are about me being a bad person. They're not about fun stuff. So,
I mean, but those are still Ho Chronicles, right? Whether
but
you're
who
good or
wants
bad.
who wants to read that dark ass book?
That's what most people's whole stories look like.
Oh, Chronicles.
No, my whole chronicles are fun.
See?
Oh, mine are too.
See?
I'm just
See,
saying.
so he lied. So you're a so you
I said most people.
So
I did
you
not
lied.
say he.
no, my,
Oh,
I would like
Oh.
much more fun host stories. I missed out on a threesome at a Wiz Khalifa concert once. I didn't put the number on my phone. She said she gave me the phone number, and I said here it go, and then I got out the door, and I didn't hit save.
Bruh, you didn't call or anything?
He didn't save it.
I didn't say who the hell am I gonna call?
Listen. This is Ho-education 101.
Okay.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Once you get the number, you need to send a call or text immediately because then you don't have to save it.
Oh, that's that. No,
Because then it's already in
the
the phone.
game. This was something that I just like was done one day in the midst of 30 minutes, and I missed the whole, stuff like that happens to me all the time. I would go back in time, I'll do a bunch of whole stuff.
I'm just going to acknowledge Janine.
Hello.
Janine!
Thank you for being in the chat and listening to these whole chronicles before we go to the whole Loki.
these are my confessions.
Janine shared hers.
What?
Jay, let's put up Janine's, and she would change in her timeline.
Oh, let's see.
Oh, yeah, she said
Let's
after
see.
college, I would have stayed in Maryland instead of moving to Pennsylvania.
Oh, you're in Maryland. Or you were in Maryland. Oh, I should have stayed in Maryland. I thought about that, but then I wouldn't be here right now if I had stayed in Maryland at Morgan State University. I have to say it like that so I don't have flashbacks. HBCU. Oh, anyway. All right. So we're talking about Loki today.
Yes.
We're talking about episode 5.
We all don't even know what to say. We all was just like,
I mean, what is there to say?
Okay.
my mom hated Black Widow. She hated it. She hated it. We can move on. I just wanted to say that to somebody.
White tears.
What?
I drink.
Wait a minute. Carla, who are the white tears? Whose tears?
Whose?
Listen, I'm drinking Karen Loki's tears. I hate the actor.
Okay.
I hate the character.
What?
Okay.
Wait.
All right.
Go back. Wait. Who don't you like? I don't think we talked about this.
Sylvie.
Sylvie.
Oh.
Karen Loki. That's
Karen
who she's
Loki.
talking about. In my notes, I did have some comments about her in the finale. I did have some comments about her. But,
I mean, we learned at the top of 5 that she's kind of like that. Apparently, her life was hard. This is always the thing. They always try to make these white women very empathetic characters, and I'm like, but she's been murdering people for like no one killed her.
we're going to get into that with the finale because, yes, I have all of those feelings as well. So, episode 5.
All right, let's run it down because these nuggets is gonna come to me very rapid fire. So I need to just,
Why are you doing your Ray Charles rock? What is happening?
I'm just ready. Right. I can just hear it already. I can just.
Wait, what is happening?
So Loki has been pruned, and he wakes up in the void, and he wakes up to. I don't know if they're calling. I just call him Classic Loki because he's in the classic comic book Loki costume.
That's what they called him.
That's what they call him. Okay, so Classic Loki, Boastful Loki, which is Black
Loki,
and Kid Loki, and Alligator Loki.
I love Alligator Loki, and Jabari Loki is what I was calling. My favorite.
I love Jabari Loki.
Did you happen to see So okay, no, well, they actually showed him in the second or third episode. I think it was the second episode when they were running through the different types of Lokis, and they had the Rasta looking Loki that had his horns were his dreadlocks.
Mhm.
Did you notice that? And he
I don't
shows
wanna-
up. He shows up in episode 5. He's the one on the right.
Mm-hmm.
His horns are his locks.
Yes,
He's on Owen Wilson's Tim Pad, and I think it's episode 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know why, but I want to see that Loki.
I don't want to
No.
see any more Lokis. I don't want to talk to any more of them. I don't want to talk to the regular Loki. I don't want to talk to Sylvie. I don't want to talk to nobody. I'm done with all of them.
He looked like Garbage Pail Loki.
My God. I was like, give me just what? I was so done. I was so over it. Over it.
So you're done with all of the Lokis.
I'm done with the series. I'm mad there's a season 2.
I don't understand.
always going
This is why we should have got to episode 5 and had a discussion, because now we seem to have gotten to episode 6 and we all done deviated from where
We
were.
had 2 Visions, we had 3 Captain Americas, and we have like 18 Lokis. So I don't know why you're surprised. We was always going here.
I cannot reel in my disgust at this point. I don't. It's 5 and 6 is the same anger at this point. I can't just.
I had a great
I
time.
can't.
Doing
They're
what?
very different.
There was nothing happening.
I think there was a lot
I
happening.
would
There was
disagree,
a lot happening.
but at the same time, you know, I enjoyed the whole thing. So I mean,
So okay, so we have Elias.
Mhm.
We have we know that Elias consumes all matter and substance. I don't know.
Everything.
He's a
consumes
problem
everything.
solver. That's all you need to know.
Elias makes
They
things
send him
disappear.
problems, and he.
if the TVA
He's a
is
fixer.
Windows, then Elias is the garbage recycle bin on your desktop.
Okay, that is what Elias is. And so they're running from Elias. Of course, our Loki wants to kill this Elias. And he makes a speech, and he actually gets himself to go with him. And boastful Loki, Kid Loki. Well, yeah, no, they do. No.
Well, we're missing a part because
Not
he
at
wants
first.
the explanation about why he should follow them at all. Why should I go with any of you? And classic Loki tells our Loki to listen to Kid Loki because
Kid Loki
Kid
is
Loki is
the
that
king.
dude. He's the king of this realm. And Loki asks him why, and he says that he killed Thor.
Killed them.
Now, well, here, this is where my shit happens. All right, so in the comics, he does kill Thor. It's not the same as like a murder, like you would, kill somebody. He's immortal. But Kid Loki is on a quest to prove that he's a good person. Old Loki has been like turned into dust, and he's been remanifested into a crow called Ecol, which is Loki backwards. So it's not, So he's on this guide with old Loki. Kid Loki is trying to make people trust him by doing what he calls good tricks, meaning that he has the intention of helping somebody, but the only way he can do so when someone doesn't trust him is by tricking them into doing something so that he can get what he wants, so then he can help that person, manifest whatever it is. Thor, catching him in the midst of one of his schemes, can't seem to unright the wrong that Loki has done. But Loki, being that he's a kid now, Thor has like a bit more empathy towards this kid, towards his little brother, because he is like a little brother now. And so he allows Loki to like go through with his grand scheme. And Thor throws himself into the life vessel of the World Tree. And the World Tree is like a river. It's like an ocean. Once Thor throws himself in, he's not gonna get out. I mean, he gets out because the comics, like eventually he gets out. Everybody gets out. But Loki goes through with his grand scheme, his grand plot to trick everyone into believing that he's a changed person. Loki inevitably goes to the end of his quest, but Ecole, who is old Loki, actually repossesses this kid, takes over his body and expels the kid Loki, so that Ecole's grand scheme of tricking the world into believing he's good has been manifested, because not only did the kid do all the work, tricked everyone into believing that he's good, but now Ecole gets to be in the body of his younger self and relive his entire life with this like second chance, this kind of baptism, if you will.
You know what's
yeah,
really interesting?
What?
Every story that people have said about Loki from the comics that we did not talk about in the show. And what's annoying is that it seems like they expected everyone to come to this series with as much interest of Loki from the past knowledge. So we'd just be cool watching them talk about all these Lokis with no real context or none of the exciting things that make them all exciting. Because if I'd seen that or literally anything else, people are like, oh, I love Loki. It reminds me of this thing in the comic. I'm like, great. So you like it because of the thing in the comic, not because of anything you saw. So like, because if you saw what I saw, there was nothing happening. But everything you just said, I'm like, wow, what a rich story. Like, what an amazing path.
I can feel that.
To go down. Like, but they didn't give me anything.
I do have an incredible amount of context. I can't even. That's fair.
And what you just said makes the empathy of Kid Loki so immediately it makes sense, because that's who his character was. That's who he was. He wanted to do good. And he even says when all the Lokis fight and the alligator Loki bites the hand off of President Loki and they get out, Kid Loki says, every time we try to do good, something goes wrong or whatever. So he is the person he is the Loki that wants to do good in the world. You made it very
thanks for that context, because I didn't get them watching it.
Because they played music like I was supposed to care, and I was like, who is this child and why do I care? Like,
it's okay. I watch it with my mom, and she gets upset because I'll pause it. I was like, no, because you're not going to know what the hell is happening if I don't pause it right now. So we're going to pause, I'm going to talk, and then we're going to move on to the rest of the show. So.
Well, see, but the other thing is, like, while that context is cool, I guess, like, I also don't need it for what I was learning in the show. Like, so that's what's frustrating, is that like this was literally a series that was a love letter to a character that people just like a lot. And I was like, but can we get it? Like, if the whole series was just like a different Loki's journey every episode, I'd be down. But instead there's this like convoluted story about, I don't even know anymore, like, to try to get us to all these plots and movies that we'll get to eventually.
It was all about Loki learning to love himself.
And free will.
Loki learning to love himself and free will were the device. They're trying to set up the plot for the rest of the new.
Yeah, we're trying to set toys.
So,
well, yes.
So that, I mean, that's it. Like it was a bad, of all of the devices they could have used. This was a lazy. The first 2 episodes, then they could have skipped to 6.
Yep.
And it could have been a movie, a really good movie. Because the rest of it was filler. It was interesting to people that had that great context.
I can't argue with any of that. You know?
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
Wait, before we move on to like the plot stuff, let's talk about classic Loki tricking Thanos. I thought that was especially when you get to the end of the episode and he's made this magnificent Asgard like from his hands. When I saw that part, it made me think back to what he said, that his trick was grand enough to trick Thanos into believing that he was actually dead. I don't know what it was he did, but he was like, yeah, I just pretended that I was like some rebel in the background, and then I got up and that was it. You know what I'm saying? But to go on this long journey to like the end of the world and feel regret. I think all the Lokis get to that point where they're like, man, I'm a shitty person. You know, they all kind of have like that self-loathing about themselves. and he gets to the end of the world. We all know that Thanos doesn't win, right? They're like snapped for like 5 years. So Loki for 5 years was alone, and then everybody came back. But for the rest of time, Loki was by himself. He had nobody. This is the choice that you've made. You don't go back. You can't go back. And just like all the other Lokis, in the final hour when it's too late, he decides to be a good person and save the other Lokis. I thought that was cool. That was a nice little thing.
Well, the reason that he got caught.
Yeah.
The reason that he got caught was because he missed his brother.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only reason that he came out, because he missed his brother. So this idea of Loki loving himself and being introduced to all of these other Lokis, I think it is the device, but it is also the madness that the MCU is getting ready to go into. So it's preparing us for all of the different versions of people that we're getting ready to see. So you see 15 different Lokis. Well, Spider-Man, we already knew that there were going to be at least 3 Spider-Man, but it didn't make any sense how that was going to work until Loki.
My question about that, in the kind of the same way that Jade is saying, and like Carla is saying, where everything like is the middle, where does the exposition dump go? You know what I mean? We do have to put the rules somewhere on the wall at some point in time. I do agree that there are parts in the middle that definitely felt like filler, but there are parts in there, like I said, I think on like episode 2, that felt like, that waiting for a Godot question about like self-existence. And I thought we were going to get to that. We didn't really like get to, the self-existential crisis of it all. But I thought that we're not there yet, episode 6, but I don't know. We'd have to talk about that also. The discussion between Kang and Loki, the Lokis, I thought was good character development. But still, it was exposition. It wasn't not exposition, in that same vein. And so I wonder in the context of this universe, when we're talking to somebody who's powerful enough to put a hole in the galaxy, when the answer is not put a hole in the galaxy, what do we do with that time, with that space? Because if he is going to speak, he has to say something, but at the same time, these characters that have led up to this point we can't simply fight and call it good. But I don't know how we answer that question between what I enjoyed, which is the context that I bring to the show, not having consumed it, and the context that the show is trying to get you to receive, so that we can get you to the next train to move on. Because I think what you guys are saying is absolutely right, but I'm still wondering about how we solve that problem, because it seems like this is where we would put the exposition dump.
Well, I don't think it's a problem to be solved. I think it was a necessary evil. I think Loki had to happen the way it happened. I don't like it because it irritated me deep in my shondo. But as I like to always think about it, does the story work in context? Because I don't think about Marvel stuff as its own, each thing being its individual thing. Where does it fit in the context? And I don't think they did anything wrong with the way that they created this series and the purpose and the exposition. This series that's what it's for. It's a middle, and it's a solid middle. I just think the middle of the middle got lazy, and they rested on white privilege as a storyline, and it irritated my soul, because there was a way to ride the middle that was more intriguing than that white woman, that skinny white girl with her pinched face and her horrible acting.
Okay, so Sylvie, how do we feel about Sylvie?
Yeah, but
episode 5, Sylvie is
whining.
Sylvie takes the black girl out the sunken place before she gets putting in her like little private. She breaks out her cell and tricks the black girl into following her to the Exxon, and then while they're in the Exxon,
yeah, that was.
Is that no?
Yeah, that
are you talking about Hunter B-15?
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't B-15 in episode 5 too? Is she not in B? Is episode 5 at all?
She is, but she's in
briefly.
She's in prison.
Right.
She's in.
That's the part I'm trying to think of.
Yeah, she shared too much.
Renslayer. That's the part I'm trying to say. Renslayer and her little interaction, where she's like, "You can't beat Sylvie. This is the white privilege part. You can't beat Sylvie because Sylvie wants it or needs it, and you want it."
The writing.
She said, "You'll never find her. You only want it. She needs it."
Ain't nobody gonna give me Sylvie. No.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to acknowledge at this point that I knew we couldn't trust Miss Minutes.
No, oh no. I think we all knew she was on some B to the S from jump with a little southern accent. Again,
there's a lot. It's a clock.
Yeah.
A holographic clock with an accent.
With an agenda.
Very
much. Hold on. There's a lot. It's buried deep. And those eyes. She lying.
Real quick, before we move on away from Sylvie, Carla, I want to give you a chance to expound on your white tears. Where do you think the tears came from, and what affected you the most?
Is it 5 or 6?
5.
5.
Okay.
It carried into 6, but it started in 5.
It started in 5, and it started with when she shows up after she's prunes herself, and she shows up at the end. This is when we learn that she's willing to do whatever because of her own personal feelings. And it doesn't matter what greater good is. We know that before she says it in 6. Because that's how she starts, like, oh, I have to do this for me. And it was about her and her whining and her being snatched away from her mama and when, like other people don't have problems. She's willing to disrupt everybody's timeline. Because in this universe, what we know is that everybody's not unhappy. There are people in many of these universes that are living happy lives and going about there and having a good time. And this white woman is willing to undermine millenniums of happiness to get her because her feelings is hurt.
Is this the Adam and Eve thing? No? Okay. What? That's cool. Different podcast. That's fine.
Yeah. No. I cannot understand why Hollywood is still telling this crying white girl story and weaving these tears into everything because don't nobody want it no more.
That's one way to read it. I read it a little differently. Like, she's a Loki. They were trying to tell her story as a mirror to our Loki. He led his entire life bad person. He has this crisis, and he tries to turn himself into a good person. She was a good person up until the TVA got a hold of her, and then she flipped, and now she's just classic Loki. I need to get my agenda done. The rest of you, good luck. And like,
and that is very, very white. That is very.
Yeah,
that whole
Carla's not off.
I don't think she's wrong.
Sylvie's a mass shooter. Sylvie's a mass shooter. Sylvia is Columbine.
Oh my goodness.
That is a take. I like that.
I like the show. It's funny. Every time I get on this show, I don't disagree with nothing. I just be like, yeah. Yeah.
Because
I'd be a bad critic. I'd be like, it was cool.
There's truth in what we all say. Sylvie, she was on my nerves in 5, but she was jumping up and down on the nerve in 6.
Here's what's annoying to me, and it goes back to this thing of like, white women are not the only people with problems in the world, because they seem to think that they are. And so the issue is that like every single person that we encounter in this series is horribly flawed. They've been lied to. They've all been kidnapped by the TVA. Like everyone has the same problems, right? But like Sylvie is like run around like and has been forever, like literally murking people, like out here just like killing all these agents, like. And I mean, honestly, I mean, she had a cause, I guess, but like she really just wanted to avenge herself. That's what it's about, and that's what's
always self-defense, right?
Is that none of
self-defense,
right? But none of her actions come from a place of I would like to make this right for the world. It was all they slighted me, and therefore I'm going to be. And also, I'm also not against a story of revenge. I've seen lots of great stories of revenge that I like. But what's annoying about her is that it's very like why you so mad the whole time? Like I would like to watch you enjoy getting your revenge. Like I like to see a villain twirl their thing, not like always like it was so rough. You will never understand what my life was like living in apocalypses. Didn't nobody tell your ass to do that?
You was a foster kid. Calm down.
And we knew it was going to go in this direction when she was in the elevator with Ravana and she asked her, what was my Nexus event? And Ravana,
Ravana's incompetent though. Like you ask the wrong person, that nigga don't know. You ever ask somebody you think they know the answer to a question and they say, shit, nigga, like Zaire. I mean, you don't know. She said, I don't remember. No, you don't remember. You don't know. You wasn't important enough to know. You just bring the nigga to the court. You ain't read no.
You don't care.
Come on.
I don't know. I think Ravana is really good at lying.
I think so too.
She knows more than she says to everybody.
True.
I don't disagree with that.
Because she can lie on a dime to Mobius.
Yes, she can.
Oh, why couldn't he stay clean?
She got Sylvie to trust her fully.
I think to the point that Carla and Nick were making, we can't write a reason good enough to take Sylvie out of the goddamn timeline. There's no reason. There's not a good reason. She was like 6. She don't remember because we didn't write one. There's not. If there was a good reason, nigga, we'd have put it in the script.
They gave you 15 seconds of her trying to save innocent people and
in her
question
imagination
why she was being treated this way, and playing with Valkyries on the Valkyrie side. She was trying to be a better person than a Loki would probably be left to their own devices. For a 6-year-old.
I did hear a theory that because she was a female Loki and because she was playing with the Valkyrie toys, that she would try to become a Valkyrie. Because remember in Ragnarok, Thor says, I always loved the Valkyrie. I wanted to be one. So that her becoming a Valkyrie throws things in off balance. That if she had gone down the road and continued her life the way that she was playing, she would have become a Valkyrie and not a Loki at all.
Well, as presented, if that's what that character wanted to do, she would have absolutely done it. Whether that's valid or not is, a choice left.
Yeah, we didn't go to that mountaintop, so we can't really talk about that. Yeah.
I don't know. Her hair is cute, but I don't know.
But what, Jade, I would like to know
Sylvie's
somebody
hair?
else. I would like to know if anybody else played the drinking game and then took a shot every time that broad said enchantment. That she was going to enchant.
Oh my God.
Episode 5.
We get to episode 5. She's like, I'm going to enchant it. Oh, are you? Great. I didn't know that was something that you got into. I had no idea.
I was like, I'm just gonna take shots every time she tells me that she's going to enchant something. Okay.
Yes.
Was there any other plan that had a chance of working?
Huh?
There were no
I
other
don't know. I
plans.
think
There were
that's
no
just
other
really
plans and any chance of working.
So it's not.
No.
See, and here's the thing. It's back to the thing with Sylvie. It's not the fact that that's the plan she had. I just literally, when we met her, the only thing she said for the entirety of episode was that episode 4 or was it episode 3?
Yeah, it was
3 or something.
She just
like that,
talked about enchanting the whole time. So you know what we all knew she was going to do in episode 5 if she had any plan. It was going to be to enchant them. So the fact that she's like, they're like, da, 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 let's play the hero. She's like, I'm going to enchant it. That's not an exciting line anymore. There's nothing exciting about that. I would have been more impressed if you were just like, Loki, take my hand, and you start enchanting the thing, because then I would be like, oh, she's enchanting it. Give me a chance to realize what you're doing at some point.
I mean, we do have to inform 4 other people that we're going to enchant it, though. We didn't tell anybody the plan yet.
That is the laziness of the writing. That was just it just was lazy. Lazy.
It was like they were
Show,
like,
not tell.
the word of the day is
This is Pee-wee's Playhouse.
I mean, they were trying
I'm
to
still
sell
having
you
a
on the
great time.
idea of this romance between them, and I'm like,
First
I
of
don't
all,
want
they
to
look
see
like
it.
brother and sister. I don't want to see those two skinny
Yeah,
white
I didn't
people
like
touch
that
each other.
energy. That
It was gross.
that felt like Clueless.
It was a
I like
weird
Clueless.
energy and very narcissistic. But it was just kind of the point of the show.
And I think I said
Don't say
that
don't say that.
I liked the idea that he was falling in love with himself, but I didn't need to see him actually fall in love with himself. So we knew that it was possible to go down that road. I didn't necessarily want it to.
I would have been, I don't know. I feel like part of me may have been fine with this if it was Jabari Loki the whole time. I just feel like I didn't need to watch a white man for 6 episodes fall in love with himself. They do that easily, like without 6 episodes. So that's why I need to see
The
this.
privilege. Oh, the privilege.
I mean, the privilege was so heavy. So heavy.
I'm like, what's Jabari's story? I need to know about what's happening with Jabari.
I wanted to know why everybody couldn't understand the alligator Loki. I wanted to know alligator Loki's story myself. I was way more interested. And then he was saying, people were like, no, don't bite them. Like there was conversation going on with alligator Loki. And that's what I wanted to know. I wanted that.
It's like
When
Groot.
I like to
I'm
imagine
sorry.
Alligator Loki wants to know why all y'all niggas is people. Like that makes no sense. Like that's weird. Like they want to know if he's real. Like don't ask me.
So I know that we had a conversation about Mobius in the first couple of episodes. Episode 5, we get a Loki Mobius moment. How are you feeling about Mobius at this point in episode 5, at the end?
That car has some good traction driving in the grass like that.
I have always liked the Mobius character, which is weird because I don't really much care for Owen Wilson's acting for the most part.
I think that this is Owen Wilson in his best role ever.
I kind of have to agree. I have to
Ever
agree.
really worked.
I've
This is
never.
the only time he's ever settled for me.
Yes,
And
I've never enjoyed him more than in this role. I think he's
accurate.
really good in this role.
I have to agree
Accurate.
with that. I have to agree.
I love that
believable
Mobius.
he is.
Oh, sorry.
I
Go for
just
it,
feel
Alex.
like they did so many. I'm sorry. I feel like they just leaned on so many 5th grade writing class tropes with these characters that I can't. It was irritating. I can't get to Mobius like who the character is because I can't get past the fake buddy movie thing that they keep trying to do. Like they're trying, like this ain't lethal
Like
weapon.
even down to the hop in.
Doing.
Like it was
Like it was. I like how lazy.
Why wasn't that a jet ski?
right.
Why wasn't it a jet ski?
Now, if they had been on the water and he rode up on a jet ski, that would have just.
See, but why does it have to be on the water? We're at the end of times where a
How
giant
much
cloud is
budget
eating
do we
things.
have?
It's
Now we gotta be on the
Marvel.
water. We gotta
They
run
made a
it
whole
on the
ship
No,
appear.
but that's the thing. He doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be water. It could have just been that land, and the jet ski could have worked because it's the end of the world in a fake series where a cloud is eating everything. It would have been fine. I would have believed
I mean,
it.
they did
Like,
have
why-
Thanos' helicopter.
Right, like why
They
introduce
did.
the idea of a jet ski and never have that pay off? Like why
Because
that
it
was such a
his
long
writing class.
and specific conversation just to end up with not even a nod to it. Like lost opportunity, missed opportunity.
It started so good, and then they got erased.
They didn't even know, like when they kidnapped Mobius from his timeline, where I'm sure he was on a jet ski. Would have been nice.
None of that. None of that.
I'm happy that Mobius Mobius was just like a white person in 2020. He was like, "What? This shit is fake. I'm burn it down." So we'll see how long. we'll see how long that lasts.
Because there is a season 2.
Yes,
Mobius did get. He was woke. He was woke.
Right.
He was very woke.
Very
When he
quickly.
woke
he was
up.
like, "Oh, my black friend said that I needed to be upset about this today, and so I am upset. I have been lied to by the system, and I will take it no more. Hop in the
I will
car."
go back. I will go back.
Okay,
I'm gonna fight.
so episode 5. What is your score for episode 5?
I give it a 4. I like that shit.
Thinking of-
Carla.
Thank
Nobody
you,
was
Carla.
saying something. I'm sorry, Carla. You look me. I'm sorry.
I was rolling my eyes and grunting. I'm sorry. I said a 2.5. That was wacko.
2.5.
Whack.
Nick.
The laziest writing. The writing needed a pillow and a binky. The writing
Wow.
was lazy. It needed to go to bed.
I'm gonna give it a 2.
2.
I can't even do the 0.5. I'm gonna give it a point for each plot point we actually achieved. So
Okay.
That's a lot of points, though.
2?
For how many? You said a 0.5 for each plot point?
No, a point for each plot point.
Damn it. Okay. I'm like, that's 4
Okay.
points.
Alex.
Yeah, I'm good for it. I liked it, man. I was here for it. I read a lot of comics all the time. I read comics, then I draw them. Then I read them some more, then I draw more comics. So I was here for the whole thing.
Okay. Marcus.
I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I'm easily entertained. I
Yeah, me
enjoyed
and
all
Marcus
the
there,
bits
man.
with all the extra Lokis double crossing each other and being extra. It's hilarious.
I love that Black Loki double crossed the white Lokis.
And then all the other Lokis double crossed him, and then it was all
Yeah.
double crossing and a
It's
bunch of
just-
knives, and it's like, you know what? Let's
Yeah.
just leave.
You know, I'm gonna change my score now. I
Do we?
was gonna say a 3.5. I'm just gonna go to a 4 because Hiddleston screaming when that alligator took his hand off. I died. That was hilarious.
That was so
just
funny.
the way that he screamed.
And
All right.
did you ever see the pictures of the actor that they had played classic Loki when he was Hiddleston's age? They are like identical pictures. It's terrifying.
Oh
I
wow.
know,
He
terrifying how
looks just
quickly
like-
white people age. Ain't that sad?
Oh my god.
Stop it.
Okay. Okay. So, episode 6, the finale of season 1, Loki.
First of all,
I don't like Sylvie at the door. That wasn't. I would agree with both y'all in this point. Sylvie at the door. Nigga, you've been about this life for like it's 5 episodes now. Don't be at the door.
And now you about to
life.
get to the door. You know,
come on now.
See, really?
I just need a moment, and that is the Karen moment where I wrote on my water bottle.
I didn't like that part. I said, "You've been that nigga this whole time. Don't be at the door now."
Well, because that's the thing that became frustrating, especially in this episode, is that they were really. I mean, at that point, they had so many competing things with these characters. Like they were trying to show us Loki fall in love with himself and show this soft side of Sylvie and Loki, but also get to the plot point, the 2 plot points that we actually needed from this episode. Like, if they were surrounded by all these shitty conversations and Sylvie having conflicting emotions and Loki being like, "But I'm a person." I was like, how long can we have this same conversation? I guess 45 minutes. That's how long we can have the same conversation.
Yeah, 45 minutes. I mean,
it was like 42. Like 42.
Put some credits on it.
If she was gonna hesitate outside the door, it should have been to sharpen her knives. That's what I need to see.
Yeah, man.
Gotta be sure we cut somebody deep.
Like, you ever seen somebody
just effectively?
I wanted to see her be like 1980s, and you about to just hit the fuck out this cardboard. You just like.
Right. Actually, wait. Have y'all seen the video of the white woman in Victoria's Secret that hit the black lady in the
back? Oh my god!
And she was like, that was silly.
We have to do a show about that
one instance.
7 videos. On
Jade, have you not seen this?
I have not.
You
For
have
real?
Oh,
go to YouTube and go and type in Victoria's Secret Karen.
Just
this woman, the woman that was assaulted, put up 7 videos. I can't think. She's a Nigerian woman. I can't pronounce the name right now. I can't call it up. But it was a saga, and you have to watch the whole thing.
Jesus. Okay,
it's a lot.
That'll
but
be
that
a
was
good
Sylvia
hour
at the
of your
door.
life you'll never get back. But my goodness,
It's
that was Sylvia at the door. She's like, she didn't like murdered people. She's like taking things. She's like watch Apocalypse happen over and over.
Mm-hmm. And now you got
uses her one power enchantment to open to fix Elias and open this place up, and then it's like, I'm not sure if I'm ready. Oh God, I can't with you.
Her daddy taught her that. Her daddy taught her if a black person ever catch you in a corner, you scream to high hell. I don't care if they took the tissue out your pocket. You scream to high hell until somebody come and help you. And then she just, you know what I'm saying? Like, Like if he was black, he would say, yell stranger or yell mom, yell dad. You just you scream, kick on the floor like a toddler. Like you could tell that white woman has been on a leash before. Like she been leashed up at the zoo. You can't let this little white child off a leash at all. You got to keep her on one because then she just get lost somewhere.
Talking about Sylvie?
No,
we are not.
No,
we are not.
Okay, I was like, I don't know. What are we talking about?
So we went back to Victoria's Secret Karen.
Right.
I'm upset about that.
Alex, I haven't seen it.
I'm sorry. She needed her leash.
She was so emotional.
Sylvie standing at the door, conflicted for a moment, for me makes sense because she's 9 years old. Mentally, she's 9 years old. She never grew up.
What 9-year-old out there just murking people, and then they get nervous to walk through a door?
White people.
because here's
temper
the thing.
tantrum with powers.
Right.
You want me to look up some E-True Hollywood stories about 9-year-olds with red hair murdering their parents?
See, but those people are not nervous to then enter doors. Those people do interviews and talk about how they were justified. Like I watch lots of true crime, so I know what happens when a murderous child murders. They either come back and they're like, Lord. "Wow, my life was so terrible, and I feel very bad." Like I like you don't understand. Like that's the thing. Sylvie did not choose an abused child story. She did not decide if she was the angry one or if she was the sad one. Like she had no direction. She was just like blob of like white emotion that didn't really know what she wanted, except knew that she wanted to.
The whimpering at the door. It's the whimpering. It's the white tears. I drink them. It's this. I'm hard. I'm bad. I'm this. I'm that. But I'm so delicate and emotional, and I have to call the police because the black man told me to put my dog on the leash. Like, it's that energy that I didn't buy it at the door, and that's why I totally quit.
Well, especially because you just enchanted a whole cloud monster. Like, you literally just without knowing you could do that.
This is the moment. This is the give me one moment. Where was Whitney Houston? I was like, you don't go in that damn door.
Oh. Well, it doesn't matter because then we get the jump scare of Miss Minutes.
Wow.
Who offers them a deal. Let's cut a deal. You two can be in the same timeline if you want. Loki, do you want to kill Thanos? You want all the Infinity Stones?
I think scenes where the character is going to lie to somebody, like, at least somebody in the room should believe that they're lying. Like, Sylvie didn't think that she was telling the truth. Loki didn't think that she was telling the truth. I didn't think that she was telling the truth. Why are you here? Why are you standing here? Nigga, move. And that's what somebody should have just like spotted her with the, I don't know where Miss Minutes is. I've never enjoyed Miss Minutes as just the animated feature that she is. Like, she's just a hologram, right? Like, why are you offering me anything? You ain't God. Like, I'm more here than you're here. And then she's like, pew, 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 just disappears and shit. It's like, I need to see that part. What the fuck was that? It's hard.
It was the laziness. I'm sorry, Marcus. Go ahead.
No, they're trying to show you that our Loki has changed, because that is an offer that he would have absolutely jumped at before all of this started. It was badly done because he's already gone over the edge here. It wasn't necessary to have it.
Nick's right, though. They said these things. We said these things throughout the season already.
I'm from the writing school of get to it. You know what I'm saying? Get to it. And when you're telling the quest story, right? When you're telling the greatest Wizard of Oz story ever, because that's what this is. It's an aim for 7 stories and 12 notes. Everybody needs to keep that in their head. So this is a quest. This was a journey story. Fine. They're all the same. But get to it. The Miss Minutes thing and the back and forth at the TVA, all of these are devices that writing students use, the writing teachers use to teach 12th grade playwriting. So what's another complication? What's another hurdle? What else can we get them? No, just get to it. Get to the
Who haven't we seen in a while? What's a character that probably hasn't been here that we could bring back to help us in this moment? Right, yeah.
It was just lazy.
Well, and that was the other, and
Carla.
And I think part of me is also coming from the very technical sense of understanding that this show was executive produced by the actor playing the lead, who's a big fan of the character, right? And also there were times on set where the director or one of the other producers would like just have Tom Hiddleston walk around the set and like give presentations on Loki to people. And so what irks me about it is that like they did get to it. I knew what this show was about by episode 3. Like, and then there were literally 2 more plot points that they had to get to. But even then, they kind of introduced them. And so, like, we really didn't even need the plot points, like, to get there, except for, like, the Kang moment, like, truly. And that's just me speaking to someone that was, like, bored and over it. But, like, I was like, at this point, we are just watching Loki have conversations with people. And I'm, like, watching fake philosophy. Like, I feel like I'm in the audition room. I feel like I'm in an audition room hearing all these white men talk about themselves and talk about the things they've learned and how these projects have changed them. And like, I just feel like I'm just watching this like circle jerk, like for like 3 episodes.
The last 3 episodes were a whole circle jerk. it was episode 1, episode 2. Then we could have got to episode 6. We should just and made it a movie. Like it is. The over it I was. Now I'm speaking in Yoda. Over it I was.
It's a Disney property.
Watch season 2. I will not.
Don't threaten us with that kind of multiverse. It ain't that. It ain't that wide.
You have to watch season 2. You have to watch season 2. Okay, so Miss Minutes.
So we walk out of the front. We walk out of the foyer.
Yep.
Which took 10 minutes because somebody was standing in front of us and we didn't walk around that nigga.
And then the elevator door opens.
It's a black man.
My thing is
Baby.
like just like Carla said, like nigga, just open the door and he's sitting there. Why is Miss Minutes?
Oh my God! Why do you have a church fan already?
How'd you do that?
I just
I'm
made
so
it.
jealous.
Marcus!
This is a factory of components. I can make anything.
That's crazy.
I need a church fan.
All you need is some cardstock and a popsicle stick. Like, don't get crazy.
That's correct.
Like, it's just just
got a printer
print something
or no
on some
popsicle
cardstock
stick.
and get a popsicle
Printer.
stick.
I don't have a
I'm
printer.
gonna make me one.
Oh my God.
I'm so hot.
I'm gonna draw one. I'm gonna draw somebody holding one.
Draw me one. I'll pay you because I pay.
I'm gonna
saw
draw
it on
Carla
Twitter,
holding
and I had to have it.
sign with the on it.
So
That way Carla can have a sign and I can have a sign and we all got the sign.
So he who remains is in the elevator eating a green or holding a green apple. And then he takes a bite out of it after he says, wow, this is wild. You're the same person.
And the episode has been interesting up until now. Been watching 15 minutes. Not up until the nigga opened the door, which he's been sitting behind this whole time because he knows they're coming. So he's been sitting here. He's not surprised. Sitting here the whole time. So Miss Minutes getting in front of us was about.
I mean,
adding time.
It's a multiverse,
right? You know what I'm saying?
Like,
it's a multiverse. He doesn't know if this is the one where she convinces them or if this is the one where they get through.
I'm not a person who has an issue with exposition, but I do agree with Carla. We do got to get to it though. Exposition is exposition when it's for a reason, but now you're just doing anecdotes. I don't really feel like being here for all that.
And there was so much. I feel like they wasted so much time in the first 15 minutes. We could have got a little bit that story he wrote for us about his variants. And I wanted more of that story once I started. I was like, this is the context I really need to move forward. So I just feel like it was such a wasted opportunity because that was actually beautiful. The CG in that was gorgeous, but I'm getting ahead.
Well, and that's what was annoying. That was what was annoying to me about the structure of this show, is that like we literally spent 3 episodes in 15 minutes doing nothing to get to what we've been trying to understand. Like the only thing that we need to understand to get to the next piece happened and then it was crammed into like 5 minutes. And then we had 7 more scenes with them trying to make a decision. That is my least. That is why I hate most Shakespearean shows. I hate watching anyone try to make a decision. I don't mind, like in Othello, where he's made the decision and he's wrestling with what that decision is and what it means for his life. I have issues watching people try to make a decision for 7 scenes, like because there's nowhere their argument's going to go besides here's why we should do it and here's why not // here's why we should do it and here's why not / like there's nowhere that we can go from there.
It was Mount Vormir all over again.
You just dropped a Shakespeare reference.
I mean,
point that out.
It's who I am.
Mount Vormir, where Hawkeye and Black Widow stand on a mountain and say, I should die. No, I should. No, I should.
Oh,
no,
Lord.
I should. No, I should. No, I should. No, I should. And that's what we do. That's what this whole last episode is. We just kind of we never got to the gravity of waiting for Godot. of where we ask about, are we real? Does God matter? Is this nigga even coming? No, we showed up and that nigga was sitting on the elevator with an apple. He was just,
Also, Hawkeye should have died.
Nah, I saw Black Widow, man.
Did you like it?
No. My mom hated it. My mom was said Marvel should be ashamed, is the quote.
Everybody, that's what I'm hearing from everybody. I haven't heard anybody say they like it.
I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed very small parts of it. Like,
Black Widow. Marcus always be like, I enjoyed it. I didn't like this part, this part, this part, this part, this part, this part, this part. But it was enjoyable. No, it wasn't. You didn't enjoy that.
He's that kid that you put a plate of food in front of him, like you put a pot pie in front of him, and he's like, "Oh, it was delicious. I picked out all the carrots, all the I picked all that shit out. But the chicken in the crust was good though. Like he said it.
It was an entire movie about assassins and bad people. I don't know what you were
crust
going
and chicken. You just said you ate the crust and chicken, and you left everything else aside. You just said it.
I don't say that as a condemnation. I think that's a skill set. It's a gift. I'm glad you're a glass perpetually cracked person. It's not empty. It's not full. It's always dripping.
I see that we are interrupting this Loki presentation to talk about that.
I'm just saying.
So, I'm just gonna say, I liked all of the people that were not Scarlett Johansson.
I can't stand her.
I think that entire movie was exposition about a point in time that we never got to see. Like, the movie's not about child trafficking. The movie is not about assassins. The movie's not about spies. There were no gadgets. There was no mission. There was no countdown timer. The movie is not about trauma. The movie is not about a relationship between two sisters. The movie is not about a mother and a father because the niggas is not really your parents. The movie is not about any of these things. The movie is about a woman who is already dead and about the character growth that she already experienced. The same thing you guys said about Loki. But Loki is already this nigga by episode 3. He's already this person. Except Black Widow has like 23 fucking movies about Black Widow. And so in this movie about Black Widow, she never does anything to like, how are you changed by the end of this journey? Which is a really hard question to answer because we know who she is by the end of this journey, a dead nigga at Vormir. She doesn't go anywhere. But the movie kind of uses that as like the wrong crutch in a way. The movie could be about child trafficking. The movie could be about assassins. The movie could be about a relationship between a brother and a sister, but it's just not. It's about talking about how you beat me when I was a kid, but we don't see her get beat. It's about how you guys aren't really my parents and you went to be like the European Avenger, but we don't see him do that. It's about Black Widow. At the end, when like the big spaceship crashes down to Earth, it just feels like Fast and Furious. Like we just race cars in this bit. That's just what we do. You know what I mean? She doesn't get like a gadget and like spray like smoke. I thought it was gonna be like 007, the Marvel movie.
I can't even get that far because
her skills are.
I also like
she's a spy.
One, I can't refer to Scarlett Johansson as a nigga because then she would think that she could play them, and that is my issue with her. I wish
she already did.
Exactly. I wish that she had said. I wish that she had said her shenanigans that she said when she was like, I don't understand why I can't play an Asian person if I want to, because I'm an actor. And that's the whole point. I wish she had said that last year. I wish she had said that last year, because that is my problem. I can't watch anything with that woman because she actively is white. She is an active white woman that sits in Hollywood, accepts checks for bad films, is a bad actor, is very untalented, and will take roles that are literally not suited for, but outside of her actual culture and feel right about it. So I cannot watch or support anything that woman ever touches.
Feel right about it and make you feel stupid for
she will gaslight you. She'll be like, why can't I? I'm an actor. I can. Right. Isn't the whole point to play different roles and different characters? Get out of my face, ScarJo.
I'm fairly certain that this movie happened because of a contract.
It's because of her.
Fairly that this was part of her deal.
Because when she signed with Marvel, it was a number of
and so I'm
she was
fairly
in
certain that
the
this
first
is the bill she will die.
second one.
Mm-hmm.
We won't have to see her anymore in
No.
any capacity.
And
This
it
movie
opens the
was
door
a setup
for the
for
little sister.
Yelena.
Yes.
And I'm all about Yelena. I like her a lot.
That girl, it should have just been Yelena's movie.
I think in a movie
It's
where the straight man
still
is
called Black
also the Joker, that we have an issue. Like she played against herself the entire time. It wasn't Yelena Belova with Scarlett Johansson, and we're like doing this dope, scene like in WandaVision where they're having these like really dope internal conversations. It's like, you beat me when I was a kid. You beat me when I was a kid.
No.
You beat me when I was a kid. Like, yeah, but if I ain't seen you get beat, I don't care. It's just it was my issue with Black Widow is my issue with Iron Fist. At no point in the show does he show you he's that dude. He just keeps telling you he's that dude. I'm the strongest. I'm the strongest. And then you see him in a fight scene, and it's like Jackie Chan would body this nigga. Okay, I don't know where Jackie Chan is, but Jackie Chan would body the Iron Fist. You don't look
Iron
like
Fist was so whack.
it was so bad.
I can't believe he actually brought it up.
We try to act like
I don't want to think about it.
He said that he practiced the fight scenes 3 hours before they taped. That's not how we do fight scenes.
It was bad.
Well, they did not. I don't know what, again, I don't know who he was sleeping with or who he has pictures of with what goat, but he was not a martial artist. That actor,
no.
He had absolutely no training before they cast him. And when I want to see somebody get throat punched, when I want to see the 5-finger exploding palm, I want to feel that in my soul. Mm-hmm. And that boy couldn't do it. I don't know why they cast him. He must have been somebody's nephew. He must have had pictures of somebody with some gorillas, some things happened. He had some photographs or something.
With gorillas.
Because that boy had that was his worst casting. I couldn't even get into the table right because the casting.
He had no business playing that character. So, well, the worst part is when he walked into Colleen Wing's dojo and told an Asian woman how to teach her own damn studio.
So like, moral of the story is this episode of Loki was so boring that we have now discussed in depth more 2 properties that no one on here likes.
I don't think that's true. We spent an hour on Loki so far. This is only
5.
like 3 minutes.
Episode 5. We are in episode 6, and we've literally just got through the door.
Okay, let's go back. Let's go back.
And then nothing happened for 30 minutes. So like I think that we've done our job. We talked about it.
Look, I just am refreshed that the Lovecraft Country cast is getting cast other places.
Yes.
That made me refreshed. I was happy to see that young man, I don't know his name, playing another character because Atticus irritated
Jonathan
Majors.
He irritated my Shondo. I love Lovecraft, but that character irritated me. And I was I was refreshed watching him play this character. It looked like he had fun.
He was having fun,
It fits. I think it's going to be good for the universe to have him in it. I think the introduction of he was the point. And I don't care that the judge kicked Moby in the throat again. Like, I don't.
I wanted more of that, actually. I wanted to see them interact a bit more than we got.
Because they wasted that time that you could have had with Miss Minutes running her clock. bumping her clock. 15 minutes.
Yeah, we could have did 45 minutes of cliffhangers, and that would have been dope. That would have been a great episode. I love cliffhangers. But this was like, we didn't really tie up any loose ends, and we kind of spent the time that we had just walking from one room to the other room.
Well, and tied up exactly 2 loose ends. One,
literally 2.
Are Sylvie and Loki so in love they can overcome anything? No. We've definitely cleared that up. That is not a thing that happened.
Because one of these niggas ain't all in.
That was not even an
they
end
tried.
for me. I didn't
They
care about
tried
that.
to
Loki
hint that
tried.
was the thing they could do.
Loki tried.
Loki tried. And then we got the Twilight Zone ending where it's like, hey Mobius, we gotta stop this guy. And he's like, who are you? And then there's a
Oh, now we
giant
skipping.
statue.
Are we talking about when Loki and Sylvie are lying to each other about the trust, or are we talking about the very end where
Oh, I'm
it's
talking about
all
the
over?
very end too, since
Okay.
we're trying to get past everything. But yeah, they were
Okay.
lying to her, of course.
Yes,
Jay, can I read the post that you tagged us in? Because this
Yes.
is just
Oh,
this
Lord.
funny.
yes.
Somebody posted on Facebook, a black man discovered the multiverse and protected the universe as we know it from certain doom for millions of years, given zero credit, only to be taken down by an angry white woman with a bone to pick. Thank you, Marvel, for giving us the most accurate representation on screen in the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I mean,
Go ahead, Marcus.
when you first dubbed her Karen Loki, I was a little annoyed, but they did just end the show with her taking her concerns to the ultimate manager, where she could be very upset. And
When-
get
I
her
told
way.
you from the beginning this was going to be a requiem on race. I said it.
I didn't.
I said it. I know y'all think I can make anything about racism, and I can. But
It
this
was
time,
easy to do.
I
they
Yes,
did
it was
it
easy
for
to
me.
do.
Mm-hmm.
I would still argue this was trying to be about free will, but yes, they did end up there.
When he yelled at her and said, "Grow up!" I hollered. Because that's what I needed. That's what I needed. I needed somebody to just yell at her.
He said,
And then
"Grow
Loki
up,
trying to
Sylvie,
talk her down.
Murderer, hypocrite." He called her murderer and hypocrite.
And then he said, "We're all villains here."
I think the part that I'm missing that I would have wanted are those points. The points where Owen Wilson is chastising Tom Hiddleston, the moments where Kang is chastising Sylvie, the moments where we're really throwing stones in a glass house about who's committed sins and who deserves forgiveness and redemption for those sins, what the greater good means, what it means to be it's ambivalent word, just like not flippant either way about what it is that they want. But they all seem to want to be at both times anarchy and altruism. And it's like, no, one of you choose one and then commit to that one. I don't think we even get that with Kang, because we know that Kang is going to be portraying a different goat sheet when he's the next Kang. He's going to be a completely different person. Almost to the point that in my opinion, for who Kang is, for like reviewing Kang, he almost does a better job of being the Thanos than Thanos did. Thanos has to do so through word of mouth, through his ships, through his legion, through his many followers. But Kang can scare you with a cautionary tale, right? You love me, you fear me, I'm your devil. You have no idea. You don't know who I'm scared of, which for me is what Sylvie was supposed to be. I was so hyped for Lady Loki to be like this mastermind, dark-haired, 6 foot tall. Who's that woman who had the Velma, the horror 1970s horror woman, the huge rack. She had like the
Elvira?
Elvira. I was expecting something like Elvira chick to be Loki. You know what I'm saying? It's like just evil, like, and for that to be leading into something. But instead we got like a way more like humanized version of someone who doesn't even want to be called Loki. And like Kang is right. She is kind of immature, and she is kind of like a one-tune song all in that.
Right. It all sucked. There was no one. It almost seems like the first 3 episodes were written, and then they were like, okay, we're gonna get a season 2. So everyone just stop making points. Everyone stop making characters make decisions. We're just about to just talk for the next 3 episodes. We're going to hit a couple of plot points because truly, like Marcus, you said they tied up 2 loose ends, and they weren't even the ends that I cared about that you mentioned. I was like, we got that the multiverse exists now because Kang is dead, and we got that the people of TVA realize that they lies and what they always been told. Those are the 2 things that I got from this episode. Other than that, it was just words. White people talking. I don't know. How do y'all keep listening? I can't. I start tuning it out.
I really truly enjoyed Jonathan Majors' performance.
Yeah, he was great.
I did too.
Because he made some just weird choices. Like, if you were a person that was holed up at the end of the universe by yourself for millennia, you'd be kind of off. So, holding a conversation on the desk, that's fine.
Right.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't do it in midair.
This is a similar issue to the with Falcon and Winter Soldier, though. That we was holding the ball and we couldn't get over the touchdown line, In the ways we made it, in other ways we didn't.
They blew it.
My issue with WandaVision is that is the worst CG air fight I've ever seen. These niggas fighting in the sky, and it's like, oh Jesus! Somebody put them down. Put them down. Kamehameha wave. That's all you would.
You could almost see the ropes in that fight.
Yes.
Like you could almost see the ropes. It was not dope.
I didn't pay that much attention to the fight scene.
I don't know. I think Jonathan did an amazing job. Actually, I think he was one of the few people that was directed.
Mm-hmm.
Like I felt like he was given an opportunity to work, and he leaned into it. He was like, I'm gonna keep this check. I'm gonna be in a lot of.
I think the director was finally excited about something. There was nothing else to direct in the whole series.
This is what I heard. This is what is floating around the rumor mill, which is probably true. That he went in and he read for He Who Remains. And he read separately for Kang the Conqueror. That these were 2 separate roles.
Ooh.
And because of what he did in the what do you call it when you
audition?
Thank you. Yes, because of what he did in the audition for He Who Remains, they changed everything based on that one performance.
It makes perfect sense because he leaned into that. He leaned into it. It looks like they gave him room to clown. He was down to clown, and it was awesome. It was the only thing that made me happy. Because the rest of it made me so sad.
So we knew that he was Kang the Conqueror because that had already been announced that he was going to be in Ant-Man, the new Ant-Man movie. But we didn't know that he was going to show up and be He Who Remains in this show, which I was a little surprised because, of course, we've had Mephisto. Is Doctor Strange going to show up? Is this person going to show up? And it just felt like, no, there's not going to be any big thing that's revealed at the end of this series. And then the elevator door opens up and it's like, oh my God, it's Kang the Conqueror. But he's actually not Kang. He's Immortus. So he's another version. We haven't seen. I don't
know if he could technically be Immortus. I know people said that he was Immortus, but I'm wondering about that theory only because if Immortus is interested in the continuation of not necessarily himself, but like versions of himself. This version of Kang was technically pruning himself. He was stopping galaxies from existing to prevent himself from existing, which would kind of be the antithesis of Immortus. And so I've seen that theory, but I don't know if that one is necessarily like on the money.
For our purposes, he's all the same person.
Mm-hmm.
This is the ultimate TVA agent. Getting rid of all variants of himself.
Is a black-owned business.
And I'm with
Preach.
And that explains why the technology is so 1988 and 2188. Because that's how you do things. Like, no, I'm not getting rid of my microwave. I've had that microwave since 1990.
It still works. It cooks better than yours.
And
Oh
that's
my
what
god.
that's what everything in the TVA is. We ain't getting rid of this microfiche. Everybody, it can work.
All right. What's your score for the finale and the series overall?
I will give the finale a 3.5 simply because Jonathan Kane gave me everything I needed. And I will forgive the rest of the lazy Phil because of that wonderful acting. And I will give the series overall a 3 because I really think episode 4 and 5 we didn't need any of that to get us to where we landed. I believe everything that happened in 1 2 was necessary, and we needed that story. We needed that foundation. I believe we needed the last 36 minutes of episode 6. But I can only give it a 3 because I just cannot forgive 4 and 5. I can't forgive those 2 episodes.
Okay.
I'm gonna give this episode a 2.5. 1 point per plot point. 0.5 for Jonathan Majors. Series of 3. I had really high hopes. I thought they were entering some interesting conversational, philosophical territory. And then it was boring and white. So, 3.
Okay. Alex?
Uh,
I liked it. I thought it was cool. I go to 4 because my average on this television show was a 4. So I give it a 4.
And you give the show the whole
A
series
4.
a
I give
4?
it the whole series a 4.
Okay. Marcus?
I will give this episode a 4, but all of those points are for Jonathan Majors. He did all of the work. I thought it was an
Literally.
interesting choice that they didn't do a big MCU giant battle like they did at the end of the other 2 series. So, good. But it was a lot of exposition and it's a lot of setup for the next phase of movies. So, it can only do so much. But yeah, I thought all of the Kang backstory was interesting, and I want to see how they pay that off. The series, well, yeah, 3, a lot of filler. I didn't, I wasn't as invested in this as I was for like Falcon and the Winter Soldier and even WandaVision. I was like, what are they going to do next week? I can't wait to see you next week. This one, I'm like, all right, it'll come out and I'll watch it. But like, I wasn't avoiding spoilers on this as much as I was those other 2. I wanted to be able to watch those first, unfiltered. And this one I was like, we'll get to it.
Okay. So a 4 and a 3.
Yeah.
Okay. I give the episode a 3. I guess most of that is Kang. I think I give the series a 4 because I still say I've gone back and rewatched episodes and they just sit in the background, even if I'm not really paying attention. I can rewatch it. I can have it on. And I don't do that with many shows. Star Trek, maybe some iteration of Star Trek. I can just have on and it just be there. And if I hear a point that I want to stop and pay attention, I do, but it's just there. And I can continue to watch it over and over and over again. I've seen all of the episodes many times and just let them play. So I think that the rewatch for me was enough to give the whole series a 4, maybe a little bit more.
How much was this show about Loki?
It wasn't. And I didn't need it to be. And that's where it failed. When they kept trying to make it about the emotions of a Loki and stop using him as the detective and the snitch and the spy that I thought they were going to use him as to uncover, which would have been interesting. Once he helped discover where this other Loki was hiding, I thought they were going to do something with that energy. They were going to use that, and instead they lean on these basic ass white tropes of the narcissism and the white girl tears and it was that's where it went wrong. It wasn't about Loki because it wasn't supposed to be.
And I also
was a
think,
device.
like I said earlier, I would have been super, because everything that Alex, everything that you say and everything that anyone else I've talked to that's like watching it and they're like, I'm a big fan of Loki. So yes, I like him because like Loki is a character that bends gender. Loki is a character that has had sex with men as a woman. Loki is a character that's been animals. Loki's a character that's done. I'm like, you could have accomplished like setting up the multiverse, accomplish having a conversation about who Loki is and how Loki operates and all of that. If this was literally a series of like 6 different Lokis, like seeing the backstory of 6 different Lokis and then being like, how the hell did we get here? And then like, because all that stuff is interesting. None of this was interesting.
I mean, I kind of thought they were going to do something like that after they did Loki was DB Cooper. And like, oh, really? What else are we going to do? Nothing?
Nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, to see in President Loki, that would have been interesting because that's a whole series, and yeah, that would have been cool.
There were so many different ways to tell this journey story, and to do what they needed to do for the whole universe, for the entire scale, and they took the laziest, cheapest, dollar storest route to get there.
Well, it's not even that. It's that they gave you a little bit of Doctor Who energy in the first couple episodes, and then they just kind of like, nah, we're not doing that. And you're just like, but we could have. It would have been great.
And I looked through the writers and the directors for this because when shows start a certain way and then they disintegrate, I'm like, was there a change? Was there a shift somewhere in the director? No.
Oh.
Same person directed all 6 of these episodes. The writing room did not change. The lead writers the showrunners were the same for the whole thing. Like, so I don't understand where the laziness and the cheapness and the Dollar Generalness of it all came from.
Yeah, because anything that we just said would have been great for at least 3 episodes.
I mean, they gave themselves license to be as unbounded as they wanted, and then they just didn't use it. So,
and they didn't use it.
I also like that you said Dollar General and not Family Dollar or Dollar Tree because they are the truth.
I'm not gonna lie, I was at Dollar Tree right before I got on here.
I fucks with Dollar Tree,
and I fucks with Dollar Tree too. But I want my Dollar Tree to have my paper plates.
You were at Dollar General though, so that explains why the episode didn't work.
It was very Dollar General. It was very, very Dollar General. Very, very. Very upset.
Okay. Well, there will be a season 2.
Ugh.
Boo!
But there's a lot of room for season 2 to be. I mean, I don't think that season 2 is going to be anything like season 1 because we have movies that will hit in between the season coming out. So we will be in the multiverse. So it will be dealing with the mess and the madness.
And they changed the rules. The one thing they did at the end that they did well was change the world. They did a reset. So now we know going forward that this is a whole different world. All that shit you did last season, don't remember none of that. You don't have to bring any of that with you into the next season, which was
Loki
I like
it.
that wrap up. Yeah.
That's weird. I think that's
that
nobody else does.
Well, and I think
Right.
that's part of why there was so much nothing. Like it's it's because they were like, we don't want to give you too much to remember. Like we just need you to remember we got multiverse, Kang exists, and Loki don't know what's happening, or Loki knows what's happening, but everybody else seems to be erased, and the TVA is not real. Like
And Kang is terrifying, which I didn't get the first time. The first time through, I think I was just so excited to see Jonathan Majors that I didn't get, oh my God, he is crazy. And we should be more afraid of him than Thanos. But the second time I watched, I was like, that's the one you got to watch.
And
And
you
not only is he crazy,
and
he's the cork on top of more crazy.
and you're looking at Karen Loki like, girl, do you think? Do you step at him and you win? Help us.
Who doesn't try to defend themselves from being killed?
Oh, that was the best part.
He done told you. He done showed you the transcripts of what you about to say, what you said, and what you're thinking about saying. He has told you there's no way no choice you make that I'm not already prepared for, ma'am.
Yeah, she's like, "Are you gonna beg for your life?" He's like, "I mean, I could, but I'm not.
Well,
I'm not gonna do that."
My teacher, my freshman year of high school, she told me, she was like, if you are ever quote unquote angry on stage and you throw a chair, I will automatically fail you. And here's why. It is much more interesting and much more like easy to command power as someone that is trying not to throw the chair, or someone that does not care, or not going to show you that they're angry. But so Sylvie's walking around like, ah!
Yeah.
And
he laughs at her.
Kang was sitting there like,
I mean, to a degree, that's the character.
it's so great. So great. I thought it was wonderful.
Yeah,
And
she stabs him, and he kind of gives her this face like that was disappointing for you, wasn't it?
He's like,
You
what I
didn't feel
tell
like
you,
you thought.
did not tell
Right,
you.
right.
I told you some shit's about to go down. I'll see you
I'll
soon,
see you
Karen.
soon. I'll see you soon.
See you at Victoria's Secret.
Karen.
My question is, if this is the end of time, the end of all things, this is the inevitable point that everything comes to, how long did Karen have to sit on that floor before that nigga walked in and said, "Get your ass up off my floor"? Because the time is inevitable that way. But there's no reason why she had to even be there for 30 seconds, let alone 10 minutes before the next Kang walks into the building.
The next scene.
Like what happens to Sylvie after this? Is she gonna be made a white slave? Is he gonna make her do all clean my house? He could turn her into a statue.
If they don't open season 2 with somebody snap her neck, I will be checked out. Crack her
They're gonna
neck.
open up. They're gonna open up season 2 with Renslayer coming through the other end of that portal, wherever it is she went with her file, being like, what am I supposed to
Renslayer
do?
is gonna go find one of the Kangs, and she's gonna fall in love with that man.
Oh yeah.
Is that what's in the file?
I'm
Yep.
almost certain. I mean, I've seen stuff from the comics, but when she gives Renslayer the clock, gives Renslayer that thing, and she tells her to look at it, and she says, "I'm gonna go find free will." I think she's gonna go look for the Kang in the haystack of Kangs. There's something about her obsession with the TVA that is more like a like a fetish than it is like a faith.
Yeah.
And I think she's gonna chase that.
And I think she's that character is power. She wants it. Like she wants to unravel it so she can be part of it. She's down clown. So
it's a bit sunk costs. She's put everything into it, and if it was for nothing, like she'd be horrified. She can't bring herself to go where Mobius went. Like, screw all this. This was horrible. We were doing terrible things, and she's like, we were doing terrible things, but look at my office. Have you seen my office? I have power.
But she said to Mobius before, she said the only one that has free will is the person in control.
Right.
Did she say the man? I think she said the man.
She might have. That was like episode 3 or was it 4? Or
No,
5?
that was it was episode.
It was 5.
It was episode 6 because they had that fight. She kicks him onto the ground and then she walks through the portal and and she
when
leaves.
Mm-hmm.
she
Yeah.
said, "You can't hurt me."
Mhm.
And he
Because
pulls
I
out his little pruner and he runs.
mhm.
He's like, yeah. He's like,
He was like, "You were right. You were
because
correct. I cannot hurt you."
there's multiple points where, like
Yeah.
you said, she knows more than she's letting on, but she knows
mhm.
in 3 different times that she is a variant. For one, she has the pin from her high school where she was a principal. There's no reason you should have a pin from your variant high school unless you're fully aware where that pin comes from. Then she gets the admission from the first prisoner that got taken by Sylvie, and she resets her because she tells her that she's a variant. But
Well, she
then
killed her.
you know what I'm saying? But then Owen Wilson as well tells her that she's a variant. So Ren Slayer, I highly doubt that Kang gave her some dossier that says you're a variant, everybody's a variant. That's old information. She has like some longitude, latitude shit. Like, come find me. I am here. Like,
It's like, of everyone, you're the best lieutenant. Get out here.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm just gonna.
Okay, here's a ball they dropped. It's irritating my tighter fingers. So you got a hunter running around telling all the other little soldiers that are variants. They show up in Renslayer's real life in her office and don't do a damn thing with that information.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's for
Like,
season
why
2.
was that scene there? Why was that
I don't
scene
know.
there? But like Alex said, they had already dropped the seeds that she was a variant and she knew. They had already given us some little driplets that
Well,
she was
see,
in the know. So why was that scene there?
I don't think it was about. I mean, I think it was. I mean, that scene was for the audience. Like I said, that was the checking of the second
Yeah.
box for me. It was like, we got to create the multiverse, and we need to actually physically show the audience that these people existed before they were here. That's the reason they existed.
But they
Truly.
already showed us that the first time they showed us the little girl got her mind melted. They
Yeah.
already
In the
let
box.
us
Yeah,
know.
They showed
yes,
her false
but-
memory.
Right. Like they showed a what could have. I mean, but we know Sylvie's a liar. So like, she's like, we have
Yeah.
to use what's already there. But also, Eliath is a fucking cloud. So like, it could be. So in my mind, I'm like, I feel like. I mean, I think we knew it, but for the people that really needed it, that helped. But also, I don't think nobody needed it. I think they were just trying to get to
Nobody
45
needed.
minutes. They're trying to get to
they were
43
just-
minutes.
For me,
There were
where the
better
question
scenes
was
they
in
could
that
have used.
scene was that if TVA, when everything gets reset, in my opinion, the TVA has become a variant. It's not that the TVA exists in a vacuum of pocket dimensions, because what the man who remains, I'm going to call him the man who remains instead of Kang, but the man who remains wants is for this whole thing to be a religion, to be some type of control system by which everybody who works for me just believes it, and they have some type of system that is just a check and balance for any of their own skepticism and suspicions. But when the TVA resets, it is not 3 lizard men that are statues on this elevator. It is Kang. He's not hiding. He's not trying to preach a religion to you. He's not even trying to put the timelines back together. When
Right.
you see the Owen Wilson, that past Owen Wilson, and they're watching this big screen, and the timelines are all converging. Him and the black, what's the black girl's name? I really gotta stop calling.
Hunter B-15.
She's Agent.
No,
Moonmi.
what's the actress's name?
Woundme.
Moonme.
Moonmi.
Osaka?
When she and Owen Wilson are like kind of holding hands, watching the TVA do this thing, or the scene where we're in school and we're talking to Ren Slayer, those for me only sit in my head as like timestamp cornerstones for when this world changes, because it's kind of like a light switch. He tells Sylvie and Loki, the world will change if you kill me and it will not matter. And she kills him and kicks Loki through the door. And while we're sitting with Loki, we're still under the impression that the world is as it was. It's not until Loki goes down the hall, up the street, or over the river and through the woods that he finds this Owen Wilson and this Wunmi. And rather than the 2 people that he was working with before, they don't remember who he is. And I don't think that's a means of mind control. If everybody's a variant, the Kang could just get a different Owen Wilson. and a different Wunmi. And now you've buried the TVA not in one TVA, but in a multiverse of TVAs. Where is the real Kang? Where is the Kang who's controlling everything? If the Kang who is here will just put his face on a damn statue. I don't care if you know who I am. It's better if you know who I am. I don't have to hide if you know who I am. This lie that He Who Remains was so interested in propagating, this one doesn't seem to have that inclination to keep a secret from you.
I did appreciate that reference to Planet of the Apes.
It was a very Twilight Zone ending, and I enjoyed it.
I would like
It ended well.
Disney, Marvel, ABC. I know that you're all watching. You watch us every week. I would like you to hire Alex to be in your writer's room because it seems like he's the only person that's reading the actual context of what's happening in your show. And I think that he is making more interesting storylines. He is asking questions that I'm sure you're not asking in your writing. I think that you're just doing things. And so I would love for you to hire this man because he will make your things better. Back to you, Jade.
I have an X-Men plot also. Jade knows about this. I have an actual X-Men pitch that I've never pitched to anybody that I would like to.
You need to pitch it. You need to go pitch it. Pitch it. Because somebody needs to do something with that X-Men franchise. Because if I see that white man with them claws one more time, he's dead.
Oh, I can already tell y'all what y'all about to be upset about the X-Men movie because they said who the heroes are going to be, and one of them is Thunderbird, who is a Native American man who is killed in the way that they kill off a black person. You know, the black person dies to make you know that this is real. Thunderbird, who is my favorite, he's gonna die. So get ready for like the articles.
All that yet?
Well, he dies by being eaten by Krakoa, the mutant island, and it's like a plot device. In the X-Men, there's
they're not afraid to change things up.
There's the original 5. There's Jean Grey,
Jade will never get out.
Iceman, all those people.
But if we let Alice go on the X-Men spiral, we're gonna be here all night.
I'm just saying, they go to an island, they get eaten by the island. Professor Xavier tells them, "Yo, you got to go save these people." And it's another case where Charles Xavier is like, "You must have had like at least 20 different sets of X-Men because he keeps sending them back to this island to rescue the last set." He's like abandoning these children.
So next week, Loki is done.
Nobody cares about the kids.
And it is going to be our last episode for a while. We're going to take a break in August. And so next week we are going to talk about a set of documentaries. So if you have seen High on the Hog, Tina, This Is Pop, the new Naomi Osaka documentary, Mary J. Blige, Summer of Soul, or Woman in Motion, join us for a conversation about those documentaries.
I need to watch Tina. And which there was the other one of the other
I haven't seen.
Oh, and what is this? This is what?
This is Pop.
Only the first couple of episodes.
I would say just the first 2 episodes for our conversation.
I think the most important ones, because we've talked about the first episode of High on the Hog.
Yeah.
But Summer of Soul and Woman in Motion.
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't even know Woman in Motion was out yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave
Paramount. Marcus.
I didn't know. I'm gonna watch it.
I am too.
I'm so behind
But
because I've
Summer of
watched
Soul
only
is so good.
Summer of Soul is amazing.
It's amazing. It is.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Carla, where can we find you?
All over the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and the Twitter. I am Miss Stillwell or Miss Stillwell 60649. My organization is the Stillwell 224 Contemporary Black Art. We are here in Chicago. We will be doing a festival, Southeast Performance Arts Festival, on August 21st. So if you are in Chicago, look for us.
Hey, Nick.
NickWickham.com, the code with the NickWickham.com. I promise you I'm going to edit these episodes and the podcast episodes. But I've pivoted pretty heavily back into my freelance life. So I'm doing whatever I want, which is exciting. So last week was my birthday, and I released a song on my birthday called Christmas in July because I love Christmas and my birthday's in July. It's a year-round bop. So you can listen now, you can listen in August, you can listen in December, you can listen whatever you want. It's real good. Go listen to it, go stream it, give me them revenue coins. Thank you so much. That's I will be joining Carla in Chicago for the festival. Super exciting.
Ooh.
And then some other things that I can't tell you now, but things are coming.
Great. Alex.
You can find my artwork at AlexB_illustrations. I'm on a journey right now to learn how to paint because I've drawn so much black and white artwork. I don't think that you can see what I've drawn anymore. Like people look at my art and they're like, "Oh, that's nice. I don't know what the you drew though." And so now I have to learn how to paint, which is a lot harder than I thought it was. So get ready for that journey.
All right.
Nice.
Marcus.
All right, you can find me on Twitter at Marcus Ross and at Waterbear Games. I'm designing board games in my spare time. I recently sold out of Discount Salmon, so if you want that, go to the Steelbound's website. We don't have any on ours anymore, so working on the next thing.
That's exciting.
Yay.
The House of Afros, Capes, and Curls, afroscapescurls.com. We have a pop-up event coming Friday, August 6th. We will announce the pop-up location in the next couple of days. But if you are in the Omaha area, it is an in-person event. Just get together, play some games. It's like a big game night. Well, there'll be a few vendors there selling things. Hopefully some food trucks because COVID, and I don't, it's a whole thing.
Oh, is this
Food.
outdoors?
Indoors and outdoors.
Okay.
A little bit outdoors because we have the outdoor game, but it's an indoor event. Okay. So we will see you next Monday. Bye.